The colors of alchemy. Colors have always held special significance in alchemy. It has been suggested that the vivid colors appealed to the Egyptians because they lived in such a stark desert landscape. Color so filled the imaginations of the Egyptians that colorization to them was a way to perfect the manifested world. After 4,000 years' experience, the Egyptians acquired unsurpassed skill in the constructive and imitative arts. From the dyeing of fabrics they passed to the tinting or tinging of metals, for which they developed the processes of dipping into mordanting barbs, alloying, and treatment with special compounds. Spiritual evolution also consisted of releasing the resplendent colors of the true imagination that represents a breakthrough into an almost psychedelic consciousness. Color for the ancients was an attribute of the above that they sought to apply below, and the idea that the more colorful something was, the more perfect it was, became part of early alchemical doctrine. For instance, Zosimos, who lived in the 3rd century AD, like the later alchemists of the Middle Ages, seems to have regarded his tinted or imitative silver and gold as superior in color and purity to the native metals. Since the tinted gold was yellowier than ordinary gold, it was capable of imparting yellowness, a yellow seed or ferment, to other metals, thus transmuting them into gold. This doctrine seems to lie behind the later alchemical idea of multiplication by means of the philosopher's stone or tincture. This early fascination with color is also of interest in regard to the color changes to which so much importance was attached by medieval alchemists in the operations of the great work. According to the Emerald Tablet, the one thing what the alchemists called the first matter came first, and the perfect mind impressed particular and individualizing qualities upon it to create manifested reality. Therefore, the alchemist had to begin his transmutation with a material that was unidentifiable by any particular qualities, and had to impress upon it pure qualities that should gradually rise in the scale of metallic virtue towards the perfection of gold. Most alchemists agreed that the color-coded process went from black to white to yellow to violet. The first matter was sometimes prepared by fusing together the 4 common base metals of lead, tin, copper, and iron. The resulting black surface color, characteristic of the first stage, was invested with such importance that it may have been the origin of the term black art, as it applied to the operations of alchemy. The next process, that of whitening, was accomplished by heating the black alloy with a little silver, followed by mercury, including arsenic and antimony, or tin. The third step was one of yellowing, for which the usual ingredients were gold in small proportion, and sulfur water. In the final process, violet, the highest color in this chromatic hierarchy, was attained. It is known that this color, sometimes accompanied by a striking iridescence, may be produced upon certain alloys containing small amounts of gold. Descriptions of operations leading to such sequences of colors permeate the writings of medieval alchemy. Usually, however, the sequences are more complex than the simple one just indicated, and the processes are veiled in mystical and allegorical language that suggest they were also talking about spiritual or psychological processes. 16. Islamic alchemy and the sulfur-mercury theory. The Alexandrian era, during which time the idea of the philosopher's stone appears to have matured, came to an end in the middle of the 7th century. The succeeding age, until the 13th century, witnessed a domination of alchemy by the Muslims. The writings of this period give evidence of notable advances, not only in Arabian alchemy, but also in mathematics, astronomy, and medicine. The practical achievements of alchemy, as described in the works of Geber Razes al-Razi, Avicenna ibn Sina, and others, were enriched by the preparation of many new substances and by the skillful application of such processes as cupellation, reduction, distillation, calcination, and sublimation. Nonetheless, much of this experimental work appears to have been based upon descriptions in the Hellenistic writings. Another possible first matter, having the requisite black hue, and attributed to the female alchemist Mary the Jewess or Maria Prophetessa, was prepared by fusing a lead-copper alloy with sulfur. This mysterious woman alchemist, to whom there are so many references in alchemical writings from the Alexandrian period onwards, was often identified with Miriam, the sister of Moses. She has an excellent record of original work, for in addition to the discovery of Mary's black, she is credited with the invention of the water bath still called the bain-marie, and of the Kurotokis apparatus. The Kurotokis apparatus, to which much importance is attached in the Greek writings, was a closed vessel in which thin leaves of copper and other metals could be exposed to the action of various vapors, including notably that of mercury. A continuous refluxing effect was secured by means of a condensing cover. Along with the alembic or still, ascribed to Cleopatra, another female alchemist of antiquity and not the Hellenic queen of Egypt, it formed the chief laboratory apparatus of the early alchemists. The common alchemical references to merging the powers of the above and below as put forth in the Emerald Tablet refer to this process of distillation using the Kurotokis and other forms of circulatory stills. The two spirits, mercury and sulfur, were the two substances most commonly used in the Kurotokis, and herein we can discern the germ of the later mercury-sulfur theory of metals. Sulfur was at the same time the spirit of gold, by reason of its color, and the spirit of fire, because of its combustibility. Further, gold, being convertible into a metallic water by melting and fusion, contained the spirit of liquidity. Thus, gold consisted of the opposed elements, fire and water, or, in a later sense,